Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. So this is on the same topic as the last one, similar to it, to do with the 40 or 41 or 42 degrees Celsius, which is 104, 106 Fahrenheit, that we may receive today, and the furore, is that the right way of saying it, that's been caused by the media. A few things I've seen, two things I've thought about. Because like they keep talking about 1976, obviously, and 2022, and saying that it's, that obviously in 76 it lasted, was it 14 days, and then there was a drought for months, and they had to ration water. Obviously, I was only one then, so I don't really remember it. And then they're saying like, well, now it's 40. It was only 35 then. But the thing I'm thinking of, and I talked about this, when no one, and all these meteorologists who work in Met Office and use data and all this kind of thing that should know better than me, have not mentioned these things about is it comparable, that data, in the same sense of, are they using the same units that they use now? Are they as accurate then or now? Are they better now or then? Also, how many units are there? And I suppose this also goes back to the 200 years worth plus of data that they have. Like nowadays, they seem to have them spotted everywhere around the UK. They can tell, they've got lots of units that are official. I don't know how many, because I tried to find out, but I couldn't find out. They're in these Stevenson boxes, I believe. So they're dotted around the Met Office, have all these. So what I'm saying is, say like, for example, they have 500 of them now dotted around the UK. That gives them the greater chance of picking the highest temperature, because it's not always in the same place, not just London. Sometimes, I think the highest is, where was it previously? Was it Suffolk or Sussex? I can't remember where the actual, and it's the town, that, so they have them dotted around. So if, say, they have 500 now, if in 1976 they had 100, well, what if the place where it was 39 or 40 or 45 even, they didn't have a unit there? I suppose you could say the same thing now, but the thing is, the more you have, the more likely you are, more chances you have of capturing higher temperatures or accurate temperature. So that's a big thing. And say 200 years ago, what if they only had one? What if they just had one stuck in London, one in Edinburgh, one in, I don't know, Dublin, wherever, and they had four, and that's four chances to get the highest temperature. Well, of course, it depends where the highest temperature was, because that seems to vary. Because if you watch these the weather things, they're showing that they're showing you now how it's varying in different places in the same, in England, say, but it's varying in different places. But why aren't they asking that question? Why aren't the journalists asking that question? Why is little old me asking that question? But the journalists, who it's their job to try and get to the truth, not just be an echo chamber, not just have, our story's going to be climate change. It's going to be, look, this is an example of climate change and blah, 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 blah. And we're going to scare the living shit out of you. I mean, like, they're saying that it's a dangerous life and it's catastrophic, and they're using all these verbiages to make it seem severe. And yeah, people are dying. Most of them are dying in water, and these are kids where they're jumping into water and they're getting the shock. They're not actually dying of dehydration or the heat as such. I don't know how many elderly people, young people, they haven't given us any of the numbers. I'm surprised they don't have a breaking news tally like they did with COVID, with the number of people who are dying every day. So I know I'm trying to be serious about this, and what I'm trying to say is that, why isn't the meteorologist, why aren't they talking about that truth of the, wait a minute, how is it accurate? How accurate is it? Yes, I know you're getting 39 or 40 today, but is it possible that you may have missed those because you didn't have as many units that you do have now? Or do we have the same amount of units? I don't know. So that's the thing. And the other thing to do with climate change is, this may be an example. I'm not a climate change denier. I don't know enough about it. Maybe it is happening. These may be examples of climate change, or there may be examples of where we are compared to the sun, and maybe that changes over time. I don't know whether that makes a difference. Wait a minute. Right, I don't know how I'm going to edit that, but I'll have to somehow edit that. Sorry, I had a phone call, so I had to take it. So yeah, I was talking about climate change, and I was saying that I'm not a climate. I don't know enough to know which is truth, whether it's to do with, where the sun, when we move in proportion to where the sun is, whether that can make a difference, or whether these are just phases that happen all the time, like a 500-year phase, and then it goes cooler for another 500 years, then warmer, or I don't know, or maybe it is to do with climate change, to do all this pollution, obviously since the Industrial Revolution. The only thing is, though, is that my worry with it is that it coming back on the individual whose carbon footprint is not that great, in the sense that haven't flown, haven't driven, haven't done all these things. Yeah, obviously a lot of these things have a secondary carbon footprint, like where you buy your food or your entertainment or a TV. It would have travelled from place to place and all that, and been made with factories and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but the problem is like, well, anyone can argue, even like the people who've made lots of money out of these systems that have created this problem, is that this is the way things are. This is the system we're born in. We don't have a choice of how we travel, or how we, us individuals who just wake up in 1975 and there's a car, and you get in a car, you're getting a train or a plane. Someone's already invented all these things and haven't, they've thought about money, or maybe they've thought about their own endeavour or pride before whether these things could pollute the planet and eventually destroy humanity. So maybe this is, yeah, it makes sense, all this gas and all this stuff coming out and going up in the air. I remember like the ozone layer and all that kind of stuff when I was younger. Or it may just be a phase thing, and this is just a way of making money, or a way of making a change. I don't know. Anything that makes the nature and loves humanity, I have no problem with. The problem is if it's asked for me to pay for it, well, yeah, obviously we have to, because that's how our system works. It's a very socialist system in a way. It's funny that any Tory would probably balk at that, in the sense that that's how tax works. We all pay a little bit of money for all of us to work it out, and then it's divided out for the benefit of the people who live on this piece of land, which is very socialist, isn't it? The problem is what about those people that have made lots of money, millionaires, billionaires, who have maybe should give a lot more because they've benefited from this thing that they've created, or thing that they've benefited from, that's polluted parts of the place that we found ourselves upon. I don't know. So that's the conundrum. It's easy to be black and white and say, well, I'm a climate denier, or I believe in climate change, or this example, or it's 40, so there must be climate change, or it's not climate change because we had the summer of '76. Is a lot more than that, isn't it? That's the thing. I don't want to fall in confirmation bias or that kind of thing. I want to find to the truth, and what I would like is those people to be honest, those people who are involved in the climate change, or involved in anti-climate change, or involved in meteorology or media or the news, to actually be like me, be honest, ask these questions. Just because if you ask this question, it means you're putting doubt. Well, yeah, because there is doubt. It's very difficult. It's very in life to find things where you can be finite and say, yeah, this is 100%, this is definite this, because we're a species, we're evolving all the time, and things are often not black and white, they're shades of grey. Probably a bad example these days, but that's what I'm trying to say, is that be honest, ask those difficult questions. It shouldn't annoy someone. We're trying to get to the truth of this matter, and if we do that, and if people see people being, it is hot, but now we have 500 units. In 1976 or 1901, we only had 10 or 100. So they may not be that accurate to compare. We may have had hotter temperatures then, but we still think there's climate change. That kind of thing. Be honest. Be truthful, because you can't make these big claims without those little bits of information, those nuances that may make a big difference. Because if you have 500 and only 10 back then and now, then yeah, that is a big difference, because you can't really compare those two things. Maybe you can compare if you had one in London then and now, and you can see the difference. You could make a comparison that way. But that's the thing that I feel is lacking in a lot of people on both sides of the argument, of actually trying to look at the whole picture, rather than just looking at this small little bit here, or this bit here, whichever bit you want to look at, rather than looking at the whole thing and saying that, well, in all honesty, we probably don't know, because there's so many things that could be this way or that way, so many things, variables we don't know, because we've only been around for such a short time in our own life, like 40 years, or someone who's a meteorologist could be 20 or 50 or whatever. So they only have a small amount of information, and then they've got data that other people have given them, which you don't know how accurate that is, or how good that is, or how comparable that is. All those types of things. That's the thing that I feel is missing in lots of arguments. And then if we all do that, then there's less chance of the extremism. There's less chance of people going on this side and that side, because we're trying to figure it out together. That would look better in trying to find the homing it in and taking these variables that could be both for and against, and then you have to try and weigh it up. And that's the truth, because it's often not given to you that divinely given that this is the answer and this is what it is. We're trying to work it out because we're human, we're fallible, and there's lots of variables that we have to take into account. And even like measuring things change over time, how we get more accurate or more sloppy or whatever. So yeah, that's what I'd like to see more of, that where people are a bit more honest and not hiding that honesty inside, like they know it but they won't say it, because then someone else will use it against them, because they say, oh well, he said there was so it must be there's no climate change. But the thing is, we have to be a lot more intelligent about these things. I don't know, that's just, I don't know what really I've talked about yet, but let's see. The temperature so far 35.1 is what they're going up to, and I'm sure today we're going to reach that plus 40, and hopefully they'll stop saying this is the hottest day ever and we've never had a hot day like this before, even though you only have 200 years of data and the planet's been around a lot longer than that and you can't say. But anyway, that's just a bugbear, isn't it? Take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.